Hello and welcome to The Big Story, where we'll discuss the hottest topics of the day right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Dylan, coming to you live from the Straits Times. Now, we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so be sure to like, share and comment on our video. And while you're at it, if you haven't already done so, to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button so as to be notified whenever we go live. In a few moments, I'll be joined by my newsroom colleagues where we'll discuss the hottest stories that got you talking today. Now, for our first story, love to do online shopping? You will want to watch out for this. A skimming software is said to have infected multiple e-commerce websites that are frequented by Singaporeans, resulting in the data of more than 1,700 credit cards being stolen and sold on the dark web. Singapore-based cybersecurity firm Group IB said that the dark web database is one of the many that have contributed to the 26,102 compromised payment cards issued by Singapore banks that it has found sold on the dark web from January to August this year. It is understood that the estimated underground value of these cards is 2.5 million Singapore dollars. With us to tell us more is journalist Hariz Baharudin. Hi, Hariz.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Now, Hariz, this is very scary news. And how did the hackers actually manage to do this?
Okay, so what we've seen here is the use of this malicious software called JavaScript sniffers, or in short JS sniffers. So what this software does, it acts like a digital credit card skimmer. So a skimmer is actually a small device that's attached to an ATM that intercepts bank card details. So what we've seen here in this JS sniffers, it works like that. So what you do is, what it does is it interrupts a communication between the user and the payment service to get data like credit card numbers, passwords, names, and all sorts of other details too. And I think what's the scariest thing about this is that, based on what experts are saying, all it takes is just a few lines of code to be injected into the target system for these hackers to actually start getting this data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in your report, you actually mentioned that Group IB revealed that 26,000 payment cards have been compromised from January to August this year alone. That is certainly a big number for 8 months.
Yes, it is.
So why is it that not much noise has been made yet about this?
Yeah, so several people have asked me this, how come the number is so big but we don't see like a spike in complaints about that. It could be the case where people just don't know that their data has been stolen.
Yeah.
So unlike when your car is stolen, or when, let's say, your wallet gets pickpocketed or something, immediately something's been stolen from me.
Yeah.
But with data, it's a bit different than that, because you only essentially know your data has been stolen when it's being used. It's not so direct. So in the case of, let's say, your credit card details, you only know when your data has been stolen when these bad actors have actually used it. So it's also well worth noting that the dark web it's very well hidden, so you can only access it if you have certain software and certain credentials. So by virtue of that, the buying process and the way your data could have flowed into the dark web or into all these people is also quite hidden. So I think unless the person who has stolen your data or has bought it off the dark web starts using it, you probably have no way of knowing that the data has been stolen in the first place.
Whoa, scary stuff. So, I mean, it's impossible to ask people to stop making online transactions. I mean, I think everybody out there has, some form of another have actually, made transactions online. So, but I mean, moving forward, what do you think people can do to minimize the risk?
Well, there are a couple of things that you can do moving forward to make sure your money and your data is protected. One of the things that experts have told me you can do is actually to have a separate bank account just for e-shopping and shopping online.
That's very useful.
Yeah, because that means that you would top up this account only when you want to transact online or buy something online, which means that even if that particular bank account or that card number and password gets into the hands of bad actors, they can't take your whole life savings, it's only just a specific amount. Some have also recommended me to use prepaid cards, those like stored value cards you see being sold like from maybe Apple
or like
Google
App
Play
Store.
Yes, those kind of things. PlayStation Network even has some, I think. So because those are just those prepaid values only, and they don't have any links to your bank accounts.
But I guess there's some limitations in the sense that for prepaid cards, like you said. I mean, we know like the Apple Store has that, Google Play, but
it's not
a lot of
popular thing
retail
in
shops.
Singapore.
Yeah, and I think a lot of retail shops don't really have a lot of prepaid cards, right?
Correct. And this culture of using prepaid cards is, I think, it's more prevalent in maybe the US or overseas, not really Singapore. I don't think many of my peers or my friends actually buy stored value cards to buy apps on the Apple Store. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. So some also say that using credit cards is actually quite safe too, because what happens is that you can actually dispute any purchases that you make. So when your statement comes in, you can actually analyze and see, hey, hang on, I did not spend money on this. So you can actually call them up and dispute that and say that I didn't make this purchase, and then maybe you can get your money back somehow. But again, this only works if you don't anyhow authenticate your purchases lah. Like you don't suddenly get a OTP, a request to submit a one-time password or just submit it. Then you're authorizing it already. So there are some ways to actually protect yourself moving forward, but then again, I guess it's also important to not give your data unless you are required to as well.
Yeah, I think you brought up some really good tips for our audience that are watching. I think especially what you mentioned about how we should frequently check our financial statements, for example, just to see if there's any suspicious transaction, report it straight away and things like this. So I think the onus is still on people to be responsible for their own shopping behavior, I guess.
Correct.
So thanks a lot, Hariz, for being on the show. I think you really cleared up, some stuff. And of course, for everyone out there, just be careful when you are making online transactions. Just be a bit wary and hopefully we see fewer and fewer of these kind of illegal stuff going on. So thanks a lot, Hariz, once again for coming on the show. If you'd like to see the full story, you can always head down to our website. It's www.straitstimes.com.